All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Tuesday, December 11, 2018 Community Redevelopment Agency meeting to order. It's approximately 5:05 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Ross?
Here.
Board Member Faircloth?
Here.
Board Member Burgess?
Here.
Board Member Bailey?
Here.
Vice Chairman Shelley?
Here.
Chairman Porter?
Here. Any additions, deletions, deferrals? None. On tab 1, is there an approval of the minutes? Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Tab 2, Kamitra.
Yes, sir. On April 4th, 2011, the CRA Board passed resolution number CRA 2011-04-04, creating the City of Homestead Community Redevelopment Agency Not-for-Profit Grant Evaluation Committee. The committee is charged with evaluating grant applications and making recommendations to the CRA Board regarding the award of grants. For fiscal year 2018-2019, the committee's recommendation is to award 4 grants totaling the budgeted amount of $150,000. Staff recommends that the CRA Board authorize the following CRA grant awards based upon the recommendations made by the Not-for-Profit Grant Evaluation Committee. And they are as follows: Seminole Cultural Arts Theater, Inc., $35,000, Dibia Dream, $47,000, Mexican American Council, $38,000, and Greater Miami Youth for Christ, $30,000.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any questions from council? Board members? Go ahead. Ms. Fairclough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the committee, the CRA Not-for-Profit Committee. I see some of you here. You did an amazing job with scoring these applications, and I really enjoyed reading your comments, particularly Mr. Guzman. Type your comments, great. Very, very effective feedback. And I want to thank Kamitra for the role that you played in facilitating this. But I'm super excited tonight. I'm excited that there's some new blood here, the Dibia Dream Foundation. And why am I excited about the Dibia Dream Foundation is because we were originally introduced to the Dibia Dream Foundation from Dr. Alexia Roll, Chief Roll's daughter. She said that they wanted to come to the city. Well, we meet with them. So I was like, okay. And they were very persistent. They reached out to Kate. Kate coordinated a meeting, myself, Kate McCaffrey, and Kamitra, and we were blown away. So I know all of you know, when educators or education-related activities come to me, I'm very critical because I'm not easily impressed with everybody. But I was impressed, and Kate can tell you, on the spot, I was like, oh my gosh, how can we bring this to the city? But we just couldn't decide the funds, where the money would come from. We took it to the Education Committee. Education Committee just didn't have the funds, but I was hopeful that we would be able to find the funds to bring them back to the city. But because I am also an educator, I reached out to my county commission, Commissioner Xavier Suarez, and asked him, would he fund this at my school? And he did. And when I tell you, this is the hottest after-school club on my campus. The other kids and clubs want to cancel, drop out, and join this one. The energy, the synergy, the STEM-related, educational, authentic experiences, what my students are experiencing is incredible. There is nothing like Dibia Dream in Miami-Dade County, nothing. They are operating in other schools in the north. They are operating, I believe, a summer camp, and I've done my research. This isn't what they told me. They're operating a summer camp in Cutler Bay, and the fact that they are coming to the city of Homestead, I am ecstatic about it. I just hate we didn't have more money to give them, because with quality programs, it comes at a cost. And this is a quality program. And the difference from what Dibia Dream is providing for my after-school program to what they're proposing to the city, I think is something on a more elevated level. Because, for instance, the students are working alongside of professionals They're building artificial lungs alongside of a pulmonologist. They're working on artificial hearts alongside of a cardiologist. And this is what STEM Saturdays have to offer, which my students don't have as of yet. So the fact that you have come, you wanted to come to the city of Homestead, I am ecstatic, and I look forward to what you're going to bring to our city. So I was super ecstatic to see Dibby Your Dream Foundation. The Seminole Theater, there's no refuting the value that you bring to the city. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm happy that we're able to continue to support you. The Mexican American Council, the program, what was that, Saturday night? Incredible, over the top. I love it. As well as Kicks, you've been a fixture. Where's Stacy? My former cheerleading coach. You've been a fixture in the Southwest Corridor in the city of Homestead. So I think the committee got it right. And I'm also happy that they've given this newcomer, this fresh blood, a piece of the pie in the city of Homestead. So that's all I'll say for now, but I may have a couple questions later. Thank you.
Anyone, any other comments? Anything, Kamitra?
No, sir.
Still have the floor then.
Okay, so just a couple of questions. Okay, Kamitra, how do we determine those that are being funded again this year? How do we determine whether or not they've met their metrics or their outcomes? And who determines that?
Staff determines it. Each applicant, well, each grantee, they provide us an end-of-year program report. Actually, we get 2 reports from them, a mid-year and an end-of-year. And then also site goes out, we go out and do site visits. So at the end of the year, they are asked, did you meet your outcomes? And then they have to identify what the outcomes were, and then they tell us and demonstrate how they met it. So we verify that information as well, and that's how it's determined.
So my follow-up question is, in reading the notes from the committee, like there was some concerns that they had. However, there was enough evidence or information provided to fund them again this year. But for those concerns that they had as it relates to being in the CRA or the percentage of students being served or residents being served in CRA, how is that addressed?
Internally, we have already begun putting policies and procedures in place to make sure that the applicants that receive the grant funds, that they are serving individuals within the CRA and that the services are provided within the CRA. We will monitor that on a regular basis. We will continue with the annual site visits. And then also at the end of the year, we verify addresses. So each child or each adult that's served in the program that has an address, we go in and make sure that they are within the CRA area. We've also modified our agreement through our attorneys that demonstrates and says that they are going to serve within the CRA. The funds that they receive will be for the CRA area. And if they do not meet those outcomes, they may have to return funds back to the CRA.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I just wanted to make sure that accountability is in place and the concerns that the committee had this year aren't concerns for next year, but you're putting policy and procedures in place to ensure that we mitigate those concerns.
Absolutely. Yes,
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak, you're welcome to come forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing portion. Mr. Burgess?
Thank you, Mayor. One of my questions is, most of the group said that we go out and reach to the children through groups, through outreach. If there's a child that's not known, how would a child go to this DIBIA program that is, a special guy that maybe he doesn't do good in school or he's not well known, but he wants to get into this? If they're doing all their outreach through the groups, how are they going to advertise? And not just them, this is for all the organizations, because a lot of them that we're contributing to use the same ideas in there of how to find the children to come to their programs.
Yeah, actually, they're using multiple sources for recruiting the children. They're going to go to the schools, the local schools, and let the schools, the teachers, and the administration know that they're having the program at FICO Williams, let them know how their kids can enroll. And that's one of the best ways that they're able to reach the kids that may need this type of program, this additional support, because they'll get the referrals directly from the teachers. They're also going to go through the neighborhood. They have identified areas that they're going to go and do door-to-door advertising. They're going to work with the churches. I think they've already reached out to some of the churches and some of the local groups as well to begin to let them know, hey, we may have this program coming. These are our requirements, and this we'd like to get you to, help us with recruiting children. So they have various sources of recruitment efforts.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure of that because, I envision that somewhere maybe there's a young man or a young lady that's not in the school, not real active, kind of reserved at school and doesn't know how to get in and maybe not go to a church or something. The door-to-door, I think, is a good thing for them to try or to go out into the neighborhood themselves and walk around. Because I just see, that some children may be left out because they're not the outgoing type or something, or not known that well to get recommended or kind of shy and don't go out to the program to put themselves out there. So I just wanted to, make sure we're covering all our bases as they try to go through there, and they're not just nitpicking the great ones out and making sure that everybody's covered. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Right, sir. Ms. Fairclough?
Yes, if I can just add to that. Working with the Education Committee, we can offer a very refined and strategic approach to that by identifying students with certain at-risk factors, what we call the lowest 25% population within the schools. And because we have an interlocal agreement with the Miami-Dade County Public School System and the Administrative Director for the South Region Office, as well as the Director for Intergovernmental Affairs, Grants and Community Engagement, is a part of our education committees, that is a direct link to the schools to be able to identify those students with the risk factors. And the beauty of this is the fact that the students who need it the most can walk to the FICO Williams Community Center. That's why I wanted to make sure that we had an ironclad agreement in place to use the facility, because those students that fall within the lowest 25%, they live right around the FICO Williams Community Center, and it provides them with even greater access to be able to participate in these programs. So we will work with Dibia Dream Foundation to make sure those students are specifically targeted.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Mayor, if I may, I think that would be a good strategy for the other grantees as well. Some of them may want to engage in some of the strategies we just discussed as far as recruitment to ensure that they are serving children that are from the CRA area. So that way they will not have any of the challenges that some may have faced in the past.
Okay.
And that's open to any of the nonprofits. If you would like to have access to some of those students who fall within the lowest 25% to make sure that they're participating in your programs, please let me know. And the Education Committee and myself stand ready and willing to support you to ensure that you have the enrollment that you need.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Bailey?
I just wanted to say congratulations also to all the programs, the three that we know here very well, definitely well-deserved, and I also am incredibly excited to see what Dibia brings. I would love to be part, Councilwoman Fairclough, of the Education Board, if you guys do discuss that, because I was thinking something very similar to make sure that along with the Southwest Advisory Committee, that we could go out there and make sure that some of these parents who aren't willing or know better to sign their children up, that we can really make sure they get all the information and help out as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you for a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ma'am. Mr. Burgess?
Thank you. Ms. Driver, are there penalties imposed on the applicants? Like if suppose we go in or on the children, if we go in and find out that they're counting 20 kids, 30 kids that aren't CRA residents, what is the city's position or the CRA's position, and what do we do to try to rectify that?
When we do our mid-year, do our site visit and our mid-year report, if we discover that there are some challenges there, they'll have a chance to cure it. We'll make them aware of what the challenges are, and then let them know that they have a certain amount of time in order to cure that. At the end of the program year, if we discover that they still did not meet their outcomes, they may have to return some funds. So let's say that they said they were going to serve 40 kids within the CRA area, and they only served 20, then we gave them money to serve 40. So the 20 that did not get served, then we'll have to prorate it, and they'll have to give money back for the 20 that they did not serve. So that is the penalty, and they may not be eligible to apply again the following year.
But it would be very hard to get those funds back because most of them are being spent out as they move through the year, wouldn't it? So I don't see how that's a viable solution because most of these people are nonprofits that are working on shoestring budgets. And so I don't see how we would ever recover to enforce that on somebody.
It's actually common practice from other grantors that, grantees, if they don't meet their outcomes, that they have to pay back funds. So it's not something that's unusual and that the nonprofits have never heard of before. And additionally, when we do the agreements, we make it very clear to them that this is the penalty for not meeting your outcomes. And then lastly, we've had in the past where grantees have had to return money back to the CRA, and we've worked with them. So we've allowed them to be on a payment plan. We have one right now from 2 years ago who is paying us back funding money that he owed to the CRA.
I guess one other point though is that a child or young adult or whomever that's in the program is allowed to finish the program without penalty to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We won't make the final determination until the program ends, because that's when we will check attendance and we'll check addresses. So we really couldn't make a final judgment until the program concluded.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Ms. Fairclough?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Kamitra, how, for those nonprofits that were not funded, and I encourage them to continue to reapply, how are we supporting them to strengthen their application or their presentation to better position themselves to receive higher rankings?
The committee, along with myself, gave them feedback during the presentation process to let them know ways that they could improve either upon the application and or the presentation itself. So we worked with them in that regard. If they call us and ask us, how can I better improve, staff, stands ready to always assist them with that as well. And when we do our pre-grant workshop, I'm very thorough about what we're looking for, what the committee is looking for, what they will be scored upon. They're allowed to ask questions. We go through each question and each requirement one by one to make sure that they have a clear understanding as to what is expected of them.
Okay, I just have two final questions, I promise. With the ARC, they had a very interesting application, and the demographic that they were targeting was a very fragile demographic where there's like a gap in services, special needs residents, and helping them get jobs. And as a caregiver of a special needs brother, this really resonated with me. So what happened with the ARC? Because their packet was strong.
They didn't have a representative for the presentation. There are two requirements for applying: the actual application, and then they're required to come and attend the presentation before the committee. And unfortunately, no one from the ARC showed up at the presentation. Prior to the presentation, staff sends out a reminder email. Let me back up. At the pre-workshop, we let them know when the presentation is going to be held and that it's a requirement. Then staff sends out an email reminder, the presentation is coming up on this date, please make sure that you have someone there. And then a follow-up phone call was also made to the applicants and reminding them about the meeting. And unfortunately with the ARC, I spoke with the director, who's actually here in the audience, Mr. Para, and I spoke with him and discovered that there may have been some computer challenges during that time, and then also some challenges with their receptionist that he's addressed, and he spoke with his staff about. But it was just an unfortunate thing with them that they did not receive the notification. And we actually called them the day after the presentation to say, hey, what happened? We missed you guys.
Okay. So to Miami Bridge, to ARC, Three Virtues, and New Hope, I would hope that, I don't want them to be discouraged, but would hope that they will come back and reapply and make sure that they have the proper representation for their presentations, as well as the components to strengthen their application to better position them to receive funding.
Absolutely. And we encourage them to do the same as well. The committee was very generous with their feedback to all of them and encouraged them to reapply.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing further.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments? Any other questions? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Bailey? Board Member Burgess? Board Member Fairclough? Board Member Roth?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Shelley? Chairman Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Anything else, Demetra? Mr.
No, sir.
Manager, anything? Any comments from the public before we leave? Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor? Motion carries.